your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Bill Fichtner is my guest on More Stories. Man, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Jake.
We had the same agent in the very early 90s, and we were talking off mic about how if we could do it all over again, we never would have
We'd have
left him.
stayed with them.
I fell for the Joe Rice, rest in peace. He was the guy that was like, come on, we're going to get it. We're going to go kick ass. We're going to take the day. And he really was like an actual like Jerry Maguire, like less clients, more passion. And I fell for the old okey doke of like, no.
Bigger is better.
Come to the big agency. We have writers and directors here. We can package you. I'm like, here I go. Here I am. I'm Matthew McConaughey now. Wah, wah, wah. Next thing I know, I'm watching you come out of a bathroom naked and go.
Yeah, and you know what? We could almost not complete that scene because I remember I was living in New York. My son Sam was little, and we're shooting that scene, and I had him that weekend. That was my weekend to be with that boy. I promised him I'd be home, and I kept walking. It was like a Friday night.
You were flying back to New York.
I was flying back to New York. I had like a 6 a.m. flight, and it's like 3:30 in the morning, and we're shooting that scene, and you kept walking out, and I'm naked. You would walk out, go like this. And you did this over and over, and I'm like,
it was fucking
finally
crazy hilarious.
I said to you, Jay Mohr, stop freaking laughing right now. I got to make this flight. Just walk out of there and look me in the eye. Stop laughing.
You threatened me with violence.
I threatened you
with violence.
And well, as much violence as we could threaten each other with.
Naked.
But naked.
But it was so, the scene in my defense was so hilarious. It's a guy who's a cop, and we think we're going there to you're going to sign me and Scott Wolf's paperwork to get us off the hook of this drug case. And then it devolves into, we think we're there. We think you guys are like swingers, and you brought us there to fuck us.
Confederated products.
It's a whole different, even that cologne you liked. Because Jane Krakowski's tricking Scott Wolf to make out with her in the kitchen, and I'm in the bedroom with you, and you're like jumping on the bed, like, you feel that? I could do aerobics over here. You wouldn't even feel it. I'm like, okay. Are you open to new things, Zach? And then you go in the bathroom and you come out butt naked. And it was just so, I wasn't laughing at like the size of your schlongs. It was just so, I remember they had to put Duvetine like blackout over the windows because the sun was coming up. And you were like, if you fucking laugh one more time,
I'm going to get this.
I'm going to fucking kill you. I was like, sorry. I'm so sorry. Because you know what made me laugh? It wasn't you. First, it was just you walking out butt naked. And then you would spray the cologne in your hand. But when you handed me the cologne, instead of handing it out, you grabbed my hand and pulled it towards the bottle, which was near your dick and balls. So like, I was like, you know when a guy pulls you and you get like womanly, like off your balance?
Sure.
You kept pulling my hand towards your junk. And that was like, so I didn't see that. You surprised me.
And then I did this little thing.
Smell that.
CK1, but it's not.
It's not. It's not.
It has happened a few times over the years, like walking through an airport. I had this happen like 10 years ago. I had some guy waiting in Chicago, I think it was, at an airport, and a guy went like, CK1, right? But it's not. I'm like, well,
I got to say that's one of the best movies I've ever been a part of.
No doubt. And it's not dated.
No.
It really isn't. You watch it and it's like, I mean, it's got the whole rave thing going on, but everybody's so good in it. It's really...
I had one of those moments with Scott. We were doing the scene in the liquor store where we find out we're being cheated on by the same guy. And we didn't have permits to shoot anything. Doug Liman was just like, it was guerrilla warfare. You know that.
Had the camera on his shoulder and boom.
Yeah. And we had to go quick because the cops were going to kick us out of the liquor store. And then Doug Liman goes, it's good, but let's try it again. Like, so you're a gorilla, Scott. But you know you're a gorilla, and Jay knows he's a gorilla. And he went into this like kooky description of like zoo life. And then he goes back to base camp. We do another take, and he's like, wah. And Scott goes, well, if I'm a gorilla and he's a gorilla, and these two just start talking about fucking gorillas and tigers, and it was like, we got to get out of here. And then I said to Scott, I go, listen, if you ask him another question, I'm going to punch your face. And then we just did it, and it was
just
fine.
Roll.
Yeah, you were born on a military base, an Air Force base.
Long Island.
Do you like to fly? Is that in your? Do you have any desire to be a pilot?
No, but the thrill of flying is gone. I'm not that excited about hopping on planes. It just Just not. Just
What is that? The older I get, the more it seems impossible that this giant metal tube is in the sky, and I'm very uncomfortable the whole time.
Well, no, listen, when I remember being back in college and just looking up at the sky, and there were two things that always fascinated me. Radio. How does radio happen? How do those things go in the air and you get it in? Radio, and look at a 747 take off. What's wrong with this picture?
I have the exact same too, Bill.
Those two.
I remember listening in Jersey, Art Russ Jr. after the Yankee games. And first of all, then you see the guy, picture of the guy, you're like, he's black? I had no idea. He was just this radio guy.
Be nice if the Yanks could win one. I actually think they're up right now.
Baseball, who knows?
5 losses.
And airplanes. But when I was a kid, I would just drink on the plane. When
you could smoke back then. Well, you could when I was a kid.
I remember. And people used to wear suits to the airport.
The last 4 rows on the seat on the fifth, between 4th and 5th row at the back, there was a little sign on the back of the seat, smoking section in the back. Like that really separated it from everyone else on the plane.
As Andrew Dice Clay says, you're in a tube. The smoke's going to go all over the fucking
It does
place.
go all over the place.
And there's still like, how about when you go to the bathroom on the plane and there's still an ashtray in the bathroom with a like, don't use this sign? It's like,
how old is this plane?
It makes me, everything about it, I get uncomfortable. It's like swimming in the ocean now. I used to do it all the time. I don't.
My son Sam, he surfs. He's like, "You're gonna come out, Dad?" And I'm like, "Nope."
No,
large things swim out there. No,
it's
I'm not doing it.
monster soup. The ocean is a monster soup.
No,
but I lived in Malibu. I was always paddling, and dolphins are going under me. Seen sharks, gray whales. It was great.
No, I can't do it. I grew up, outside of Buffalo with quarries and rivers and lakes, and I like that.
You ever swim in a quarry?
Yeah, all the time.
Isn't that where like kids die on Dateline? Like, oh, drowned in the quarry, or did?
No, did you ever see Breaking Away?
Yeah.
Remember that film?
Yeah.
About the cutters and the shots of a real stone quarry, what it looks like. It's
massive.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's usually crystal clear water. It's very like Caribbean in upstate New York.
And silent.
Beautiful.
There's a profound silence at a quarry if you just roll up to one and you're by yourself. And I like watching, if you ever flown over one and you see like the massive, long, windy, circular road they have to make for the trucks to get the ore.
To get down to the bottom.
To get this, you're like, what a hole. I was reading this book where it said people want everything to be electric now, but to get panels and cell phone stuff, to get that, what's the word? Whatever that is. You have to dig like 10 times more than you have to dig for oil. It's like the most massive hole in the earth ever. When is the earth going to be done? Like when can we dig to China eventually? Like what's going to happen?
Oh, done? Oh, it's on its way.
Swiss cheese.
How
are you on fracking? I'm all for it. Who cares? Who cares? Welcome to more digressions.
Listen, I'd like to talk about fracking, but I just want the Bills to win one.
What is with your fucking team?
Coaching.
No, why you keep Marv Levy was the best coach you could ever have.
I know.
You made me raise my voice.
I know. And it's not that I don't like the coaches with the Bills. I just feel like there's been, it only takes 1 or 2 plays and you don't win a game.
Yeah, I mean, you drafted Rob Johnson. That'll set you back to play quarterback. But now you got like the most fascinating quarterback not named Lamar Jackson. You got a head coach that looks exactly like Bill Burr. Okay, what are we going to win the game? Really? Is that so great?
We got the most exciting player, most fun guy in the NFL, and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He's amazing, and it's just fun. Listen, as a fan, do you want to win it all? As a fan, you want to win throughout the season. You want to have a good time. You want to go to games. You want to win. Let me tell you, the last 5 years, been fun being a Bills fan. I mean, at the end of the season, you want it one more time.
Until January.
But I'm a little tired. Of like, this is 2 times now in 4 years where the NFL literally changes a rule because of something that happens with the Bills in Kansas City. Now the owners' meeting, as soon as the season was over, it's like, it was so clear Josh Allen, got the first down against KC. He got the first down. Didn't give it to him. And what did they do at the owners' meeting? We put a chip in the ball because they knew. They knew. 2 linesmen come out. One puts the ball 1.5 feet back. One puts the ball 1.5 feet forward, but they go with the guy that puts it back in Kansas City.
You think it's scripted? There's like, I hate conspiracy people, but it's
fun. No, I'm not a
conspiracy
guy.
It's so stupid that people think
it's just
the NFL or the NBA is scripted.
No, but I do think that sometimes there is something a little bit about being in front of a home crowd, and sometimes refs, you hear the home thing is a little home edge. Does Kansas City get a little bit more of the home edge than most? I'll tell you something, forget about the Bills. The Texans, with those 2 personal foul calls on them for 15 yards, especially one that was helmet to helmet, and then they show the side view, and the helmets don't even touch.
Take it easy. Nobody knows what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, they know what I'm talking about.
15 years
Everybody
ago.
knows what I meant.
Have you ever been a member of the Mile High Club since you were born on an Air Force base?
No.
You never had sex on an airplane?
No. But
Have you ever
did.
masturbated on an airplane?
Listen.
Bill?
Jay.
All right, everybody in this room, including Mateo, if you've masturbated on an airplane, raise your hand. I'm the freak. You've never, Kyle, look at you. You look like you're a Comic-Con now.
Jay, listen, you are a freak. And
I know
so it's good.
I'm a pervert.
Let me tell you, I've flown with the Thunderbirds and
Really?
the Blue Angels.
Oh my God. I would do the Blue Angels in a second.
Thunderbirds, very exciting.
What about the Thundercats?
I don't know about the Thundercats, but
Tell me about flying with the Blue Angels. That's like a dream of mine.
Well, it first happened with I have 4 sisters, and my sister Patty, she retired as a full bird colonel from the Air Force, and she was stationed at the base in Niagara Falls, and she called me up one day, and I was working on Prison Break, and she said, "Do you have any desire to fly with the Thunderbirds? We have the big Niagara Falls Air Show coming up." And I'm like, "Are you kidding? I'm a speed guy, car guy. I'm like, I'm in, but I have to go to the producer. I have to get permission." I remember doing the pro celebrity race down in Long Beach.
Yeah.
The pro celebrity race in Long Beach.
2011.
2011, I won it.
Yeah, I know.
Did it a couple of times before that.
Beat Frankie Muniz by a whisker.
And then I beat Frankie about 4 months later at a stock car race at Irwindale.
I just pulled that name out of the sky. Is that really who you beat?
I did. I beat Frankie at a stock car race at Irwindale.
I literally just made that up.
Yeah. And Frankie did an article in like the Pasadena Journal or whatever, and he was like, I just hope everybody else does well because this is my race or something like that. And then I got him right on the last turn.
So who did you beat? What were you saying? 2011.
So 2011. So I said I have to go to the Gary Brown was his name, our executive producer on Prison Break, and I went to Gary and I said, "Listen, can I have permission to fly with the Thunderbirds?" And he looked at me. He was like, "Do you really want to do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so he asked Fox, and surprisingly, Fox said, "Okay," because I was working on something when I did the race down in Long Beach, and they were like, "You can't do that," and I ended up doing it anyway. But so I get up there, and usually they do something that's called a media flight, which is about 20 minutes. They, big air show happens. The Thunderbirds go. They take like a newscaster and give them like a 20-minute ride and knock them out, and then land the plane like that. So they decided when I did it, you know what? We're not going to do 20 minutes. We're gonna clear airspace over Lake Ontario, and you're going to go do everything that the Thunderbirds do in the show. You're going to do it. Yes. Every whoa, upside down, 50 feet off the water, cruising along. You're going to do 9.2 Gs over 10 seconds. We're going to teach you how to breathe so you don't pass out. We're going to do everything. And I'm like, I'm in. And we did everything. And I did not throw up and I did not pass out.
Well, you have an iron constitution. You've always been like a guy addicted to cardio. My memory of you is on a treadmill and never getting off. Like I'd show up to the gym, you'd be hauling ass, running at like 6 miles an hour. And then when I'd leave the gym an hour and a half later, you were just still going. And I think we went to Crunch together, right?
Yeah.
And they had that weird hyperbaric, less oxygen chamber that you could run in.
Crunch, yeah. Haven't been in
that
there.
That was good
forever.
times.
Good times. And now we both, we discovered swimming.
Swimming's good. I almost drowned last summer swimming in the ocean. I had a panic attack coming back from the buoy. I've told the story on the podcast before, so I hate to.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird.
What beach were you at?
Santa Monica. I went out to the buoy. It's 200 yards to the buoy and back.
Freak you out?
Yeah, it was just so much water. And I was like, this is so far. It's not a pleasant swim ever. Like it takes a while to get out there. And then you just see like those cool, like 50-year-old housewives, they just put on a bathing cap and they just go out there with goggles on and they just swim for like an hour and a half. You're like, all right, show off. Me with my
I know,
little
but
baby.
the ocean's like,
It's weird. So the Blue Angels and the Thundercats, was it like I would rather I think fly with the Blue Angels than fly to like London on a regular commercial flight.
there's probably a more of a safety factor only because of the expertise of who's flying the
I
plane.
got a parachute.
Well, I remember when I got in the F-16 with the Thunderbirds, and they said, "All right, here's the deal. Here's the deal. You see that foot pedal to your right? You see that yellow handle? Do not press that with your foot and do not pull that with your hand unless I tell you to, which I'm not going to tell you. But if I tell you, then you will pull that lever because that seat you're in is going right off the top. But I'm not going to tell you that. So don't touch it."
Did you want to like, touch it a little?
I stayed like this.
Yeah,
Like,
it's at 9 Gs. How you can't control where your legs are flopping around.
yeah, it's a whole thing to grab something.
And you
but,
didn't pass out. You didn't puke.
So fast forward, the end of the story is I'm in a NASCAR race out in Fontana about a year later. And who does the flyby before the NASCAR race are the Blue Angels. And then the suite that I was in about, half an hour later, the Blue Angels come walking in. And I'm like, oh, man, great to meet you guys. That was awesome watching you. And I said to him, hey, I flew with the Thunderbirds. My understanding is that Navy pilots and Air Force pilots, no, different worlds. I said to these guys, I flew with the Thunderbirds. They all looked at me like so. And I said, and the leader of the group said, you want to fly with us? And I'm like, ask me. About 4 or 5 months later, the big base down at Miramar by San Diego, I got a call. A woman called me on the phone. She goes, are you still interested in flying with the Blue Angels? And I'm like, and I'll tell you why I did it. Because when I flew with the Thunderbirds, when I got out of the plane, they gave me this beautiful photo of the Thunderbirds and all the pilots flying the Thunderbirds, and everybody signed it, and it said to Bill Fichtner, this framed thing. And I'm like, how many people have that? What a way to commemorate this trip. You know why I said yes to the Blue Angels? Not that I'm not a little bit of a thrill seeker. I wanted another frame thing that said, you flew with the Blue Angels.
I thought you were going to say you lost the other one.
No,
so you needed another one.
I go down there, and these guys, they're cowboys,
Yeah.
And I have heard, I don't know this, but I've been told that the Air Force pilots are, especially with the Thunderbirds, are told, you can do this and this and this and this and this. The Navy's sensibilities, what I've been told, are basically, you can't do this, this, or this, but you can do anything else. So they really pushed the envelope. And I went up there. And these guys knowing that I flew with the Thunderbirds, really wanted to knock me out.
And so what? Yeah.
Because we got up there and we were over the ocean about 20 minutes. And this guy was, the Thunderbirds did a loop like this. These guys did a loop like this.
A forward somersault
Oh,
loop.
man, it was just intense. After about 20 minutes, I was like, you know what? I said to the pilot, I forget his name.
Pulling the yellow lever.
No, but I said to him, like, listen, I'm good. And he goes, great, let's try this one. And he wanted to knock me out. And eventually he did.
You went out.
I went out. I remember cruising along, looking out the window and thinking, I was sitting on like my couch at home and he was going, I swear to God, I'll never forget that. I was sitting there and I looked out the window and I thought, I didn't know I had this view from my couch. And
wow.
And he said to me, how you doing back there? And I said, just great, man. And eventually we headed back and I got off the plane and they gave me that frame thing. They had one waiting for me. And when I got back home, I put the Blue Angel ones away and I hung the Thunderbird one because I didn't want to be reminded of how freaking intense it was to be up with the Blue Angels.
I love that description. I thought I was on my couch at home at fucking 800 miles an hour.
Just cruising over the ocean.
You have to say yes. Would you do like a SpaceX flight? Zero gravity?
Forever and ever, I always said that I would do it. I'm not so sure anymore.
What about with astronauts? Like not Gail King, Katy Perry. Like you're going to go up with Buzz Aldrin. I don't even know if he's still alive. Astronauts going to go up. We're actually going to orbit the moon. We'll be up there for about a week. We're going to train you in everything. I have to shit right now thinking about it. I'm so nervous. Like I can't.
Would you do it?
No, too claustrophobic.
For the longest time, I would have said yes until maybe the last decade. Now I don't know.
Your movies like Black Hawk Down, Perfect Storm, Armageddon, there's like you went on this run of just the end of days disaster. Like if Bill Fichtner was in a movie, some bad things were going down. So which disaster from filming it can you imagine would be the worst? The Black Hawk Down being shot down in enemy territory, Perfect Storm, self-explanatory, or Armageddon being in space and being all fucked up that way? Which one are you like, wow, this is the actual worst? Rank those.
I would say, first of all, I mean, the thought of being on a boat and the largest storm recorded in the North Atlantic is happening. Actually, 3 storms, which is what actually happened. Why they called it the perfect storm is because 3 storms met. And I remember reading in Sebastian Junger's book that buoys that are out in the ocean that measure things that, they shut down when the waves were about 100 feet high, like literally coming into each other. I would think that there's so zero control over that circumstance that
Black Hawk Down.
I would just find it. I found even working on the Perfect Storm, there's a sadness that is profound, and being in Gloucester
Sadness.
and a sadness of I can imagine for the guys that were on the boat, but a sadness in the town. To meet I met the family of David Sullivan, the guy that I play, and there's they still stand on the dock. I imagine every time they look out to sea, wondering, what happened.
Did you read the book Black Hawk Down?
I did.
One of the best books I've ever read.
Yeah.
It's like, how could you possibly make this a movie? They did a very good job, but it's kind of like the MTV video version of the book. Is that a fair description? He did a great job, I'm saying. But the personal stories are so deep in the book. It's tough to do that. And oh, by the way, going back to those Air Force pilots, they all have like the same. It's like a prototype. They all have like the same body. They all kind of look like Ron Livingston. You know what I mean? Don't they all like have that pilot look?
They do, and they have the pilot sensibility.
Yeah,
They're sharp.
How pathetic am I? I sat on that Ron Livingston joke and circled back to it. My need for attention is just relentless.
No, listen. I even flagged over here, this gentleman to my right. I'm like, what's Jay doing right now? What is he doing?
You think he's paying attention? He's at a march right now.
Black
Hawk Down,
the whole Black Hawk Down thing. First of all, I've had the pleasure like 5 times of working on Jerry Bruckheimer things, and Jerry's anytime, anywhere. I just think he's such a gentleman, and he just makes incredible things, and the production values behind it. So on Black Hawk, if you were an Army Ranger, you didn't talk about it. You went to Fort Benning in Georgia, I think it is, and you learned about like Army Rangers. For the Delta guys, we went to Fort Bragg, and it was like the training for it was those fantasy baseball camps. I feel like we did that for like special ops. Me, Eric Bana, Nikolai Waldo, we went to Fort Bragg, and what they let us experience and do, and to do these things with these guys was just like.
Walk us through that training.
It was just mind blowing. I mean, we're going to deal with explosives. Get smart. You're going to have some deck cord. We're going to blow some doors. We're going to go through this cinder block city. And I remember when we got there, and one of the guys walked by me and he said, take an extra one of your knee pads and slide it down here, because you see those like 12 guys over there. Those are Army Rangers right there. They got full load sims. They're simulated boats, but they will hit you and they will bruise you.
So cover your nuts.
And we're going to run from one end of this, it was like a 5 block by 5 block cinder block city. We have to go to the other side, and then we're going to come back. Now, anywhere along the line, we might jump into one of these cinder block buildings and clear a room. So be ready for everything. And, to do that. But the thing that I really remembered from the training and everything is we had a lot of guys that were actually in Somalia, and they were with us like our tech advisors. And these guys, anytime you did something or say something that they'll stop you right in the middle of shooting when we were in Morocco and go, that would never happen. You would never talk to that guy like that. Your rank and his rank, you'd never do that. Doesn't matter if it's thematically like really good or it looks cool. Never happened. So we had that sort of expertise. But I will tell you, one day when we were at Fort Bragg, we went to a local museum there. It was a military museum. And 3 or 4 guys came over that were in were there in Somalia and Mogadishu. And you think these guys are going to show up and be like monsters and, just like, what? They all showed up there like school teachers. Oh, hey, how you doing? It's nice to meet you. And then you'd hear the stories about each one of them and what they did when they were there. These guys were unbelievable. They just were so focused, so amazing. And then you'd look at them and you'd think, that guy did that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was him. That was him that got to the helicopter and said, we're not leaving till we get him out, no matter what.
I loved in the book when the Army Rangers, who are like 19-year-old guys from like rural Georgia, and then you have the Delta Ops, who's like the elite. And then one of the Delta Op guys gets like shot in the face and dies. And all the 19-year-old Army Rangers, the thinking is like, well, if he could get shot, what fucking chance do I have? He's like the master of all of this. I'm like a 19-year-old fucking Ranger.
Yeah.
So you're going to say Perfect Storm, the worst. A Godfather 1 and 2 listed as your favorite movies. If you had to choose one, which one?
1.
I'm a 2 guy. That's interesting. Who's your favorite character in The Godfather?
Oh, God. Probably Michael.
Yeah. Who's the guy? Is it 2 when the guy's on the stand like,
Yeah.
That's 2? What's that guy's name?
Tangelo.
Tangelo. I love that guy when they bring his brother.
Tangelo, when he bring his brother in.
And he just sits there with his. I always said, like, when Anthony Davis was on the Lakers and he was always hurt, I said, let's bring like Tangelo's brother. Let's get John Calipari from his college coach and just sit across from the bench with his arms folded with that weird tuxedo with the little red balls on the bow tie. What a weird fucking look. Yeah. Oh, my friends, guess what? This is an ad by BetterHelp. Look, we got to fight this stigma about mental health. I've been to therapy many times, and I have a great experience with it, and I've never had a better experience than I had with BetterHelp. It's okay to struggle, my friends, but the real strength comes from opening up about what you're carrying and doing something about it. Get that off your chest. Share that with somebody so you can be at your best for yourself and for everyone else in your life. You'll be a better father, better husband, a better son, a better friend. If you're a man and you're feeling the weight of the world, talk to someone, anyone, a friend, a loved one, a therapist like you'll get at BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/more stories. And you, my friends, will get that beautiful 10% discount off your first month at BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. I need somebody. BetterHelp.com/more stories. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a very diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com. You can choose from over 30,000 people to be your therapist. BetterHelp.com/more stories, my friends. 10% off your first month. Not your first session, your first month. You played Adam on Mom, which is one of my favorite shows, obviously, because they're in a program that I may or may not belong to, but the second A stands for what it stands for. And you play Adam, who's in a wheelchair. Do you ever just want to... Is it hard to just play a guy in a wheelchair? Or is that... To me, that's like my dream gig. I get to sit down all day. Because I'm lazy, Bill. Can I play a guy that's just coming out of a coma where I can lay down all day?
Just lay down and just look at your eyes and go yes or no.
Yeah, like roles like Playing by Heart, where you're like, oh, you died of AIDS. That must have been hard. I'm like, no, it was great. They just made a bed for me and I laid in it every day for 12 hours.
My thing, I would get to stage 20 at Warner Brothers. go up to the dressing room next to Allison, who I just adore, and go down. As soon as I walked down the stairs to go in, my chair was always sitting there, so I get in my chair, and I really wouldn't get out of it, especially on taping nights. It was
Let the audience.
it was a big thing that
live audience.
live audience.
Okay.
But it was a big thing and the producers agreed. I said to them, listen, I can't, in the beginning they have the introductions. I'm like, I shouldn't walk out. Because I'm telling you, first of all, I'm in the chair and I can't wheel out because we're ourselves here. And I don't want to do that. I feel like we got to honor the chair. So why don't I not do the intros in the beginning? And then at the end of it, when we come out and we give a curtain call, then then the show's over and I can walk out by myself.
You walked out. You didn't wheel out.
Only when the show was over, but never got out of the chair in front of the audience.
What's the wrestling term? Kayfabe, like never break character. You
Well,
should have went to your car like
no,
that.
but it wasn't even breaking character.
You should have had one of those things to help you up the stairs in your own house. Like really never. But you should be in one now.
No, listen.
You should shit in a bag.
This isn't my left foot.
You should tape it to your ribs and just walk around with a bag of shit.
No, but do you know what I mean? It was to honor the chair. It just felt wrong.
Yeah.
To go step out there. And I had a guy, a tech advisor, Brian was his name.
What's up, Brian?
What's up, Brian? And Brian put it, I felt so happy for him because he loved the 5 years that I was on that. Brian would show up and he was like, this is the best, man. And just little things every once in a while, it'd be like, if I have to transfer from the chair to the couch, well, let's do it on camera. Don't people move around.
Brian was in a wheelchair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would, give me the little tech stuff. And sometimes he didn't have anything to say, but I'd see him every day and be like,
yeah, what are the odds you're going to be a tech guy on a huge sitcom for 5 years? Like, you both met each other. It was probably a very nice, what a good setup for the two of you. You're happy to see him. He's really happy to see you.
Happy.
I don't even want to make jokes. It's too cool for that guy. Have you ever parked in a handicapped spot?
I must have one or two times in my life to run in somewhere, but I've never parked there to go.
Dumplings or something.
Nobody's gonna,
I don't think not only have I never parked in a handicapped spot, I feel like it's bad mojo to step on any of that blue paint. I go around. I won't.
You won't? Yeah, really?
I won't step. It's I won't walk under. I'm not superstitious, even though it sounds like I'm crazy right now. But the only one I won't do is I'll never walk under a ladder because I figure why push it?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not
Plus
a ladder.
A guy could take his balls out and drop them on your head. Have you ever stayed in a handicapped hotel room?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
I just.
It's the only one with a doorbell and the peephole is at waist level.
No, this was
great.
Less than a week ago.
Oh, really?
I checked in and with my wife, and we were up at Lake Arrowhead, and in this lodge, and there was a big room and everything, and it was the handicap room. And I'm like, there's something about the room that's not only obviously tailored to, someone in a chair or handicapped, and but I'm like, I should have another room. I just felt like I should have another room.
Everything's 3 inches lower.
A little bit lower.
Yeah. But you know what I love about a handicap room? Shower bench. First I scrub it like I'm in Silkwood because I just picture everybody's balls and ass on that thing. But then once I scrub it to my liking, to just sit in the shower, I'm telling you, I hate standing. I have bunions. I hate to stand. Hurts my feet and then my hips. You've seen my feet, I'm sure you have. It's horrifying. I've sell pictures of my feet online.
Do you?
No. So you got a different room. You didn't want that. Why? They really, for as fucking crazy as people get with hey, you can't do that, and watch out. Hotels are real willy-nilly, just giving out a handicap room. God forbid a handicap guy shows up, they can't kick you out because you have the right of a tenant essentially, or a person paying his bill.
And no doubt.
No, I like that the peepholes, if somebody comes, you have to bend down and peek through it. I feel like I'm in a cool little clubhouse. All right. I thought we'd go farther on that. Anyway, how did you get the movie Go? Did you audition for it?
I did. I met.
Was that by Crunch Fitness? Did they have
Yeah,
you up in the? Yeah, that's
it's
where I met
exactly
them.
where it was, and it was John August, right, who wrote
Yeah,
it,
great guy.
and great guy, and Doug, who's Doug's. I really like Doug, and I really like his movies. He's a very quiet kind of guy. I remember that. I remember when I went, and I wasn't sure if we were going to read a scene, and Doug was like, can we read something? I said sure, and we read it, and he was kind of quiet, and I left, and I remember calling. It might have been Joe. Yeah. Afterwards, and I called him, and I just said, he just said, how'd it go? And I'm like, it was horrible. It was horrible. I was depressed. It was like, I couldn't get a read from Doug whether he liked it or didn't.
He's tough to read.
And it was just like, it was hard. I was just bummed. And then I got offered it, and I'm like, no, come on. Well,
this is how I sum up Doug Liman. A guy like Ron Howard, Spielberg, Scorsese, they're geniuses, but it's like a floodlight that opens up an entire backyard, like one of those motion detected lights where the whole backyard, like the whole set is lit up in the brilliance. Like they're genius. Doug Liman may be more of a genius, but it's like a pen light. So if you're in the pen light, it's burning hot genius. But if you're a foot off to the side, you're looking at a crazy person. You just think he's insane. Like he's just fucking bananas. And then you get in the fucking light and you go, oh, okay. Like when we were doing scenes driving around with me, you, that redheaded guy that played Loop.
You and I with the conversation that we have in the car.
That's what it was amazing. About the socks.
I have a look to you, and you're like, I'm like, you never know, and I'm like,
that was probably my.
How about the scene in the bathroom?
That's what I'm going for.
It's like
here.
we go in there, and he's like, Doug's like, I'll put the camera on my shoulder. We can't fit anybody else.
I go, isn't it dark in here?
He's holding it, and it's me, you, Scott, and who's the other guy that played?
That's what I'm asking you. The orange, the ginger guy. He played Loop.
Yeah, he was so good.
When he comes out, and you go, what are you doing? He goes, nothing. He just goes to his car. He's carrying stereo equipment or something in the house when you fucking frisked us. But in that bathroom scene specifically, it's when you're putting wires on us and we're in our tidy whities and you're kind of checking us out. It's like you're real ambiguously whatever. And then Doug Liman, we're literally in a public bathroom in Venice and it's dark in there. And I said, I'm waiting. Doug goes, you ready to go? I'm like, aren't you going to bring in lights? He goes, no. I go, it's really dark in here. And he goes, yeah. Like he loved that it was dark in there. I was like, okay, Doug. I went in to meet him, and it was just a general meeting. And then he says to me, so who would you want to play? Would you want to play Zach or Adam? And I had just read the script, but I couldn't figure out which guy was the top and which guy was the bottom. And I was like, fuck, this is a big moment right here. He was basically saying, like, which part do you want? And I go, only one guy says go. Because I remember the top guy says go. And he goes, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, shit. I thought it was like total happenstance. Oh, fucking. And you love working with Jane Krakowski?
Did.
Allison Janney, you mentioned earlier, who is, I felt like I was with like a Dalai Lama type person sitting with her when I did West Wing.
I think I did an episode of West Wing. I think Allison, especially after, working on those years in Mom with her, she's the single most talented person that I know. Absolutely.
She's on the very short list for me.
There's nothing that she can't do.
Yeah.
I mean, like nothing.
She had so much dialogue on West Wing because I'm playing like Tucker Carlson type guy, and I'm peppering the shit out of her with like, I'm trying to trip her up, and she had to just memorize. And apparently this is a technique other people use, but she would write on a yellow legal pad the first letter of each word of her dialogue, so it just looked like Morse code. To me, that's like way harder than just memorizing what you have to say. But I was a talk show host, so I had like those little cards that talk show hosts have. So I just put all my lines on there. I cheated. That's what's great about a sitcom, too. You put your lines on like the cereal box in the kitchen.
I know, I can't.
You can't?
No, I have to.
Fucking show off. Fuck you. That's your criminal justice degree coming through.
Right there, babe.
Did you want to be, what did you want to be, a defense attorney or?
No, I mean, I was thinking, honestly, when a high school counselor said, if you worked a little bit harder, Bill, you could go to college. And I'm like, come on. He's like, no, you could. work a little bit harder. So I did. And then my father suggested, criminal justice is and I thought, yeah, wow, that could be, I don't think it was ever a real life mission for me. And then I was, like probably a freshman sitting in my dorm and probably really hammered going, I wonder what kind of cop I'm going to be. I think the writing was on the wall. But then again, I was at school loving every minute of it and thinking I'm not giving up this 4-year journey.
I'm sweating like Mark Furman at the Million Man March right now.
Right now?
This is fucking impossibly hot in here.
It's not too bad.
All right, cardio guy. The movie you're doing is The Sound. Climbers, is it a supernatural? From the trailer, I'm trying to... It's definitely like rock climbing, mountain climbing.
It's a rock climbing thing, yeah.
Is it a supernatural? It's a sound that they hear.
It is.
I feel like Jiminy Click.
It's
a sound?
Supernatural element. I've not seen the film.
Okay. So you're really behind it.
It's really just no, but it's the wonderful people that worked on it. And I'm glad that, it's a small part, but, sometimes you read things and you're like, yeah, I'm in. I like this person.
I watched the trailer on YouTube, and the first comment was, can't wait to hate watch this with my climbing friends. I didn't know the climbing community was snobby and bitchy, but apparently they're onto you guys.
Did you ever see Free Solo?
No.
You never saw Free Solo?
Never heard of it.
Oh.
Is he in the Wu-Tang Clan?
No, the guy that's it's about his name is Alex Honnold, I think. Honald. He plays a small part in this film.
You say you think, then you spell it.
But I'm pretty sure I'm close. Yeah.
I don't know his name.
No,
Honnold,
listen,
maybe?
listen, Jay, trust me. It is a documentary made about a guy, Free Solo.
Okay.
I have never watched. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I did Q&As with him.
Really?
Yeah.
I never sat down in front of the television and watched the documentary where I was having a serious physical reaction of like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this. It follows a guy, and what he's going to do is El Capitan, which is
It's here, isn't it?
2,800 feet, something like that.
That's what they say.
People take like a few days to get up and like camp along the way. It's a straight wall. It's about him building up and feeling like he's ready on the day that he's going to wake up one day and go, I'm going, with no one else, with no equipment. He's going to free solo. He has nothing else. He's just going to go by himself. And one morning, when they're not expecting it, the documentary crew, he gets up, goes over, parks his car, and they're like, he's going. He's on the thing.
I didn't watch this. Sounds amazing.
You got it.
Give me your
Jay's got no freaking equipment.
All right, there's no reason to yell at me, Bill.
And he goes, what does he do it in? Like
14 minutes.
No, but he does it in, like, people take
14
days to
hours.
get up there. He goes up. No, he does it in about 3 hours, I think.
Yeah, he does the face. Yeah, which is the faster way.
Yeah.
So he has no
But
like those spike things,
nothing.
just hands in little ballet shoes.
He's going to go.
Huh.
No equipment. You slip, you're gone.
These people are different, huh? I don't get it. Give me your top three. Give me three of your favorite documentaries.
That's certainly
I wrote it down. Free
certainly
Solo.
one of them. Free
Tell
Solo.
my wife that's what we're watching tonight. We're not watching House Hunters anymore.
Free Solo.
Does your wife love House Hunters?
Cooking shows.
Oh, it's either cooking or fucking building.
No, just
Can't
cooking.
take it. I got here.
Cooking shows.
Ever have to have sex?
I
during,
wake
like, the Barefoot
up
Contessa?
to I wake up to tennis in the morning, especially with European tennis right now, building up to tournaments, building up to Wimbledon, French Open. I mean, it's been a month now, every day.
Tennis takes
Tennis in the morning.
I get distracted, and I meditated today, so I'm just so excited to see you, bro. I'm really excited. Like, bro, we got history.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So, Free Solo. Give me
Free
two
Solo.
more.
Let me ruminate on that. Something else.
Want me to give you some?
Yeah, give me some.
Brothers Keeper. They're like little ugats. I think you can't say the R word anymore. Like these three brothers that are very, very, very slow on a farm, upstate New York, maybe. And state's trying to get power of attorney over them, but they come to court, but they don't understand court, electricity, lights.
Brother's keeper.
And one of them gets killed. He may or may not have been smothered by his brother. It's diabolically beautiful.
Wow.
These guys, just watching these guys in a courtroom, it's like the guys from Deliverance. Like, now you sit at that table and you have to listen to that guy up there under those lights with the seal of New York, the state of New York, and the black, like, they're all wearing shoes. What is this place? Yeah. Brother's Keeper. Now you got me drawing a blank. How about you, Kyle?
Capturing the Freedmans.
I like that one.
Great documentary. Fog of War. Great documentary.
Oh, that was known, unknown.
Yeah. That
was Rumsfeld. That was good.
Rumsfeld, yeah.
I actually understood what he was saying. Like, because Rumsfeld got a lot of shit when he was defense secretary, saying, well, there's a known, there's an unknown, then there's an unknown, then there's a known unknown. And everyone's like, this guy's fucking crazy. But in the documentary, I thought he did a kind of a good job explaining himself.
It's interesting when you get the face-to-face.
Don't you fucking call me a liberal. This fucking guy.
I won't do it.
If you were a fighter, what would your walk-up music be? The Rocky Erickson story?
Probably something by Petula Clark. I don't know. Don't sleep in the subway or downtown or.
I need one. I got to put one in the machine. What are we coming out to? You're going to cave somebody's face in. What do we listen to?
It's a sign of the times.
By Ace of Base?
Clark.
I hate that answer.
I know you do.
Who's your favorite Muppet? Who's your favorite Muppet?
Elmo.
Elmo? Okay. Have you ever seen a ghost?
Been around one.
Okay.
Didn't see it. Been around one.
Explain.
Moved to New York working on, there was a theater called ATA. It was on 54th.
It's always theaters.
It was 54th, and it was a guy, a really lovely guy, just this journeyman guy named Jim Jennings, and he started this theater. And, it was my first time being on stage because even though I, took a couple of classes in college and went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts for 1 year. But so I was doing a tiny play in this little hole-in-the-wall theater, and he built this theater. He got this space, probably one of those like the public theater where he took over the building and made it into an arts thing and probably got it for $1 a year or something. And he had 2 little black box theaters in there, and you'd have to walk up this inner staircase to get to one of them. And it used to be in the dressing rooms.
What town is this? I'm sorry.
This is in New York City on 54th Street. And in the dressing rooms, they had the old bars cut off at the ceiling because it used to be like a holding cell back when this building was built, probably in the 20s or 30s or something. And I was in there with a friend of mine named Dina, and we were rehearsing. And we finished, and we're like, we'll shut the lights off and just shut the door when we were leaving. And we were coming down this thing, and it was in the middle of the summer, and it was hot. And it was even hot in the building. And walking down that thing, and all of a sudden, we just hit like the temperature dropped like 40 degrees. And you knew.
You just know.
You just know. You're like, okay, somebody's here. And I remember going outside, and Dina lived in Chelsea in the Village, and I had an apartment out in Queens. And I remember going to the subway station, the F train to go out to Queens on 53rd and 6th. And I remember standing there going, I'm not alone even in the subway platform. I'm not okay with this. Got all the way out to Queens and literally got off the subway and I had a conversation out loud to whoever. And I said, listen, you're not welcome, man.
You felt like it kind of attached to you?
I don't know. Just I felt it was still around. And I'm like, you're not welcome. I don't want you to come to my apartment. I'm sorry. Just can't come home with me.
I've had that conversation a couple of times too. Like, yeah, I'm sorry about whatever, but you gotta get lost.
To a ghost?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was setting up. I used to go to this AA meeting in Venice. It was, again, a theater. Like something about fucking theaters. And there was it was actually in the basement of the theater, and I got there early. I had the setup commitment. And I'm setting up, and I'm walking past. I'm the only one in the building, and I just feel like a woman's hand go from like my forearm down to my fingertips, and I look, and I'm like, yo. There's definitely a woman. And I was like, maybe I walked into a spider web. I'm like, there's no fucking spider. I've been coming back and forth here, loading 60 chairs. And I'm like, I think my exact words were, don't fuck with me, ghost. Like I got a little standoffish. I walk in the light of my Lord Jesus Christ. You can beat it. You can get going.
Listen, you got to, moments like that, if you have them, if you believe in it, if it lands on you, it's okay to say, you're not welcome.
Well, you say it's okay to believe it. Like if it happens to you, the reason you know it's real is because you're not scared. It's so matter of fact that that's the only thing it could be. There's no like, oh, there's no spooky like when you were a kid and you got the lights out, the Ouija board, like all that shit. Like it's all like spooky. When it happens to you, it's just almost like water to the face reality. Like there's nothing else that could be, right? Would you agree with that?
I would. It felt that way to me.
The American Academy of Dramatic Arts sounds very fancy to me, to a guy, a club comic that got into acting. What do you audition to get into it?
You did. So I graduated. I graduated with my criminal justice degree.
Long Island.
Right? I went 2 years to SUNY Farmingdale on Long Island, and then
SUNY
Farm, and then I graduated 2 years because at the time SUNY was only a 2-year school,
and it was not urban. Now it's very an urban school. I used to do stand up there.
Where? Farmingdale?
Oh yeah, it was crazy. It's like going to the Apollo.
Yeah, and now, and then at the time, like I said, it was 2 years. So then I transferred to get my bachelor's from SUNY Brockport.
Nice.
So I went to SUNY Brockport, got my degree. My girlfriend at the time, Rosie, she knew that I took a couple of theater classes, and which is why this whole thing changed because of an improv class that I had to take. You know this story, right?
No.
So I'm a junior. I transfer up to Brockport. It's the first week of classes, and I get a call from the admissions counselor, and he said to me, hey, listen, you can't graduate unless you have one fine arts course. You just have to have one. Intro to theater and a lecture room, something.
I'd really like to decorate cakes.
And I'm like, you could take that. But
Thank you, Kyle.
I said, listen.
Fucking bombing on my own show.
I'm like, I can't, give me a class, intro to theater. What time is it? 8 a.m. I'm like, nah, I can't do 8 a.m. Well, there's an improv class that you can take, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll take that one. So I take my improv class. It's all theater majors, and they're a little cliquey, and I'm hair down to my shoulder and just wild on the weekends. And I'm like, but this is kind of cool. I'm having a good time. And it was this former hippie woman named Sally Rubin, probably in her late 40s then. And we were like halfway through the semester, and one day she said, listen, can you stay after class? I want to talk to you. And so I did. And everybody left the room. She shut the door, sat down. She goes, listen, you should do this. I don't think I've ever said this to anybody that wasn't a theater major, but you should do this.
This is from an improv class. She saw something in you that you should be an actor.
She goes, do this.
Sally Rubin.
Sally Rubin. She just passed away about 2 years ago. So she goes, take more classes. And I'm like, I don't think you can. I think they're for theater majors only. She goes, I'll talk to the department chair. So I took the acting classes, not changing or thinking of changing anything. And then my girlfriend...
I'm going to be a cop that acts.
Come on. And then
undercover work.
So my girlfriend at the time, Rosie, she kind of is a goof. When I was about to graduate, she was going to SUNY Geneseo. We met in Farmingdale. Did you go there?
Yeah, I performed there.
She gave me a...
That's the one that's way up, right?
No, it's just south of Brockport, south of... that's Plattsburgh.
Yeah, okay.
Is the one way up there.
I did do Geneseo.
She gave me a book called How to Be a Working Actor. It was a paperback. It kind of is a goof. I still have the book on my shelf. I read that book over and over. I worked at a beach club that summer on Lake Erie, and I just kept reading that book, and I'm like, back then, you got to remember, I mean, nobody knew an actor. You didn't know actors. I grew up in Cheektowaga, New York. Who knew an actor except for a kid in high school? Pre-computer, pre-age of information, pre-everything when people think of doing that. But I read it, and it talked in that book about places to study. And one of them was the American Academy, and you had to audition. So I, wrote him a letter or called him, whatever I did at the time, and I got an audition, and I got a couple of monologues together. And
Do you remember any of the monologues?
There was a monologue from Eugene O'Neill's The Hairy Ape, and I forget what the other one was, but I had 2 monologues, and I went
That
and
must
I
be the most nerve-wracking thing in your
never
life.
so nervous in my life, just holding the pages.
Up that point in your life, nothing.
I never did this.
Yeah, terrifying.
I took a couple of classes, and
But you fucking sinned bravely. You did it.
I got in.
What a good life you made for yourself. You're a smashing success.
Yeah.
And you're one of the good guys. You got the best hair. Look at this guy. You look like you should be on a $20 bill with that fucking hair. You look like Andrew Jackson, you prick. Don Imus over here.
Oh.
So the sound was June 27th. It comes out. The
Sound comes out.
All you climbers, get out there and watch this movie and be real catty and really focus it on Bill. Oh, I want to talk to you about Contact when you played Kent Clark, the astrophysicist that was blind. You did something that blew my mind. You did like this little rocking motion as a blind guy, and you explained it. Do you remember what you told me?
Yeah.
I think we were on treadmills when you told me this.
I do remember. Contact changed me as an actor because I got the job. At the time, we would get a job in a film and you'd start in a week. I auditioned for Contact. I flew myself out on People's Express because Joe Rice told me we can't get the script. If you want to read it, it's a blind scientist. You have to read it in the casting office out here. So I flew myself out, read the script, long script, 150, 60 pages, auditioned for it, flew myself back, and then Robert Zemeckis saw it, and then I went back in to read for him. But when I got the job, they said, and you don't start work for another like 2.5 months.
Oh my God.
Well, I had 2.5 months to think about, and that began my love of like the process of getting ready. Something is just as valuable and sometimes even more fun than the actual shooting of it.
Isn't it like having a great secret? As you go about your day, like nobody knows.
Yeah, but not only having a secret, but you knew that you had a job.
Oh yeah, that too.
You know,
I'm a comic, so I don't know that. I always have.
it's just such
a
good
actors.
feeling.
But what's with the kind of rock
So,
in your head?
You know, I talked to a lot of people. I went to the Jewish Guild for the Blind when I got the job, and I walk in. I said, "Can I volunteer something? I just really want to understand this world that I don't know." And I met people, and then there was a tech advisor actually, you know, on the shooting of the film. Somebody told me, and shame on me for not remembering exactly who, but somebody told me that, you know, we look out as sighted people, and you know, we see the horizon. We have balance because we see the horizon. We know what it is. But someone who is, you know, doesn't have sight, you know,
You call them blind. I think
has to create their horizon. So a little bit of sometimes the rocking is giving them to understand what's level. That was told to me, and I thought, okay,
Jodie Foster, cool.
the coolest. And I had the opportunity to work with her years after that on Elysium for a little bit.
Nobody saw that.
Yeah, they actually did.
I gotta get out of this
No,
episode somehow.
He wants to get rid of me. Did
No,
you hear
it's
that?
like- no,
Did
I
you
read-
guys hear that?
I rent the space and I only have it now. We're
No,
hours up. Buddy, let me tell you something. If I want anybody that I know in my life to have great things happen for them, it's Bill Fichtner. You're just one of the good guys. You're a great dad. You're a great husband. You're a good friend. We had the same agent. Like, we knew each other when, man.
Yes,
Look at
we
us
did.
now. You're doing movies, and I'm doing a podcast. And I love my podcast. I hope you'll come back when you have something else to promote, and we'll get into more.
Well, listen. Let me just mention 3 things.
Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
was in. I
Put
was
this
in.
in the notes up front too.
I was in
whatever it is.
England for 4 months working on a new Anne Rice series for AMC called Telemasca, and Kimmy came with me because we're empty nesters and we travel together.
I can't believe your kids are in their fucking 30s. Jesus, you dinosaur.
Van just graduated a year ago from Syracuse, and now he's living in New York. And then after that, I came back. Did you see the series Beef?
No.
You never saw Beef?
No.
Came out like 2 years ago. Did you see it?
I was in rehab, Bill. Thanks.
Oh man.
I'm gonna write it
Oh,
down.
you got to watch Beef.
Well, and I wasn't in rehab 2 years
I'm
ago.
in the second season of Beef. And then there's a limited series for Apple that I finished on Tuesday, just 2 days ago, called Aces, with Anya Taylor-Joy and Annette Bening.
Does she talk like that all the time?
Who?
Anya Taylor-Joy?
Like the way she did in Queen's Gambit?
Is she British?
She is British,
Is she, okay.
but she plays an American girl in this.
Oh, how'd she do?
She's really good. So is Annette, is super sweet.
Annette Bening's ridiculous.
Oh, you know who else was in it? And I had one day on set, no, a couple of days, was Timothy Oliphant.
The best.
Yeah. From our Go days.
Yeah, and Deadwood. I watched Deadwood for the first time this year. Like, I'm way behind. I'm going to watch the story of Jesus Christ, but don't tell me how it ends.
Dude, I'm not saying anything, but I got to tell you, it's got a surprise ending.
So go. Oh, boy. Hope you like Romans. Listen, go see Aces and watch Beef. And, of course, we're all going to see the movie The Sound. Climbers with the supernatural in it. You know what? I bet there's a guy in the beginning of the movie tells him, don't go up there.
There's always a guy that says,
Right?
as soon as somebody gets that spooky rubbing of the...
Don't you know
Don't
why it's
go
called
up
the
there.
Don't you know why it's called the Canyon of Ghosts? I love you, buddy. Thank you for being on More Stories.
Great to see you, man.
Bill Fichtner, hit him up. Let him know you love him.
Jay Mohr's my uncle.